Melanie is practicing her international speech for the area contest. She would appreciate feedback on humor, speech value, which is the ideas, logic, and original thought, and judging criteria. And so if Melanie does reach the district finals, she would like us to ask her about her superhero stranger near Anaheim. I'm curious about that, and I'm hoping that we will get to hear that story later after she reaches the district finals. Please welcome Melanie Cheong with More Than Words. More Than Words, Melanie Cheong.
When was the last time you felt alone, needing help? Maybe at a mega stadium or lockdown, alone in your home, head and heart. Madam Toastmaster, fellow Toastmasters, and strangers needing help. Were you surprised by where help came from? My superhero stranger story starts when I was a young graduate with that puppy dog enthusiasm when it came to work. Woohoo! I'm going to my first overseas work meeting. I was so excited to be the Amelia Earhart of my family, the first overseas traveler. Through the work meeting, I was a shadow glued to a seasoned traveler. After the work meeting, I went to the big city of Paris as a solo shadow. Have you felt so excited that you have no fear? I'm going to my hotel. Taxi or transport system? What would you choose? Frightening, fiery Frenchman who doesn't like English speakers, apparently, or mute metro map. Don't read French, don't speak French. Maybe I shouldn't speak English. So I picked the mute metro map. I reached the first train station and reality hit. The train is separated by a platform, a road, and infinity stairs, higher than the Eiffel Tower. It's my first overseas trip. I have a well-researched packing list. It's longer than a roll of toilet paper. I proudly pack every item, every bag, every kilogram. 32, the one that gets the heavy tag. My green backpack is so big, it makes me look like a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle. And then looking at my suitcases and these infinity stairs, I'm thinking, I need help. I feel alone in this big city. And then out of the blue, a superhero stranger appears. Superhero stranger is so tall. Together, we look like Sesame Street Elmo and Big Bird. He lifts the suitcase, light as a croissant, and flies it to the top of the stairs. Before I can say, he disappears. Superhero is so kind. He stopped his busy life to help me. Later that day, the excitement returns. I explore the big city, avoiding the scary stairs. I go for a walk, a long walk. And in the distance, I see, oh, it's the Arc de Triomphe. Wow, it's so high. I see it across the road. And it's such a big roundabout. There's so many cars. Do people in France jaywalk? Do you know? And there's people standing under the arch. And how did they get there? Do you know? I need help. And I feel alone in the big city. Out of the blue, a superhero stranger appears from nowhere, like the invisible girl. She points to a sign. Oh, you take the stairs under the road to the other side. Before I can say, she disappears. Superhero is so kind. She stopped her busy life to help me. Thinking back to my first overseas trip, I needed help. I felt alone. But ladies and gentlemen, I wasn't alone. There were in fact hundreds of strangers, but two of them stopped their lives to help me. They didn't even wait for a merci. Thank you. Two superhero strangers stopped their lives to help me. Superheroes are rare, but we only need one. To the world, you may be one person, but to one person, you may be their world. How can we be someone's world? With the smallest of actions. We can help someone who won't ask. That means you and I can be superhero strangers too. When next will you stop your life to help a fellow stranger? Out of the blue, there's a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle waiting for you.
All right, thank you very much, Melanie. And again, we're going to ask Vanessa Chewings to facilitate our round robin evaluations. Please welcome Vanessa.
Thank you. Could I call on Gloria Darling, please? As give a
Thank you,
30-second
Madam
evaluation.
Facilitator. Melanie, I loved this speech. I could totally visualize being in a strange city and needing assistance and not being able to really communicate verbally. The only comment I have for you is towards the end, when you repeated the phrase, two superheroes stopped to help me. I would suggest that you use more vocal variety and gestures in the second one so that it definitely makes it clear it wasn't an error that you neglected, you were just repeating versus emphasizing. Great speech. Thank you.
Thank you, Gloria. Could I call on Rich Hopkins? Are you there? Would you like to give an evaluation, please?
Certainly. Michelle, I heard a lot of great things in the speech. For humor, I would work on your pacing in terms of being able to deliver things a little bit more quickly, a little bit more naturally. I don't know if English is your first language or not. If it is, I apologize, but I think that it just needs to go a little bit more smoothly as you give the speech.
Thank you very much. Tom Hobbs, are you there, Tom? Could we call on you, please?
Certainly. Melanie, I think the challenge for you right now is that you've got the content and you're enjoying your story. Now turn it into that conversation and tell it to just me across the table. And we're both sitting there at the goofy restaurant and you're getting more excited about it to where we knock over a glass of water in the middle of it. I think that would be a presentation style that would work well for you. And I'd want to listen even more. Thank you.
Thanks, Tom. Peter Barrett, our guest, would you like to give an evaluation?
Hi, Melanie. That was clearly a speech that meant a lot to you, and I thought that really came through. Several others have mentioned pacing, so I won't dwell on that. But what I would challenge you to do is take that speech, because we are a funny club, and if we weren't a funny club, I wouldn't say this. Make it funnier. That was ripe for a little bit of self-deprecating humor. Otherwise, nice speech. Thank you.
Sorry, Peter, you're a member. I hadn't realised that, sorry. Bob Huey, would you like to give a 30-second evaluation?
Find my clicker here so I can talk. Melanie, thank you very much for that. I think Peter had a good idea in terms of finding a way to punch up the humor, maybe exaggerate. You know, there I am with, you were talking about your backpack being bigger than you, and you look at the ultimate steps, and, you know, you get, and my other two bags, and, you know, thinking, oh my goodness, you know, and play on that. I mean, when you said that, I could actually imagine that, because I remember getting into Copenhagen at midnight with 3 bags, a big duffel and 2 bags, and having exactly that problem. The elevators weren't working. So I could feel your pain, but I didn't get the humor. And you could really play with that. As any of us that traveled understand what it's like when you get off at the airport and all of a sudden the walkways aren't working. You got to carry your bags.
Well, thank you, Bob. Thank you, everybody. I'll hand now back to Marjane. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thanks to all of our evaluators and to Vanessa. We like